Hey, happy Halloween, everyone. So, pretty much exactly 1 year ago, I discussed how Neca Toys was pretty much teasing a whole bunch of their new horror related action figures. And of course, one of them being was that there might have been a small possibility that we would have gotten Michael Myers figures based off of the last film that came out. And that film, of course, was Halloween Ends. So, of course, I made a whole discussion over it for a couple of reasons, honestly. For starters, uh, NECA, I haven't really been on Instagram for a while, so I don't really know if they did it again this year. I would assume yes, but basically they did like this tradition where throughout the entire month of October, pretty much almost every day, they would either mention a couple of like some new figures that are coming out, or some small little surprises like some new figures that are pretty much reveals. We've definitely gotten that a lot. I remember the first time they did it, it was okay. I remember a lot of people weren't really too stoked about it because most of the reveals that they put out we already kind of knew about. So I remember that last year they've been teasing it throughout October by saying like, "Ooh, when does Halloween ends?" And obviously that's the name of the film Halloween Ends. So a lot of people were wondering if we're gonna get a figure of Michael Myers because so far we did get a figure based off of the 2018 Halloween and of course Halloween Kills. And of course that's part of Universal or Blumhouse's Halloween trilogy or reboot trilogy, whatever it's called. So just to kind of add some context in case anybody don't know what the hell I'm talking about, basically Halloween 2018 is the half reboot, half sequel of the original Halloween film that came out in 1978, where basically it was a continuation of that film, but all the other films that came out after, you don't count them no more. Pretty much retcon everything. So Halloween 2 doesn't count. Halloween 3, we already knew it doesn't count. 4, 5, 6, whatever, all those weird sequels, not counting the remakes, obviously, pretty much you don't count all of them no more. They wanted to like start all over from scratch. They wanted to pretty much start all over because let's be honest here, most of the Halloween films that came out throughout that time were not good. I mean, they weren't like the best films in the world, and they were of like okay quality. I mean, I know that H2O was a kind of a decent one, but then of course they ruined it with Halloween Resurrection, which was pretty much garbage and is considered pretty much the worst film in the franchise. Which of course it's not hard to see why. But when it comes to Halloween Ends, that has become a huge debate because for sure, I'm part of that for sure. It's like after watching Halloween Ends, I'm not exactly sure what to really think of it. The only thing I could really mention, and this might be a little bit of an exaggeration, literally, I was so disappointed. I'm gonna be very honest. I didn't really like the movie as much as I kind of wanted it to. It's like I tried so hard, and I was like, and then the next thing you know, I just gave my dad all my Halloween films, and I was just like, man, I hate that the franchise ended like the way it did. If I'm being honest, because yeah, spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know if anyone really cares at this point. I mean, I don't like to give out spoilers, but hey, I already gave you guys the warning. Yes, surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah, this was actually the end of Michael Myers. He actually does legit die in this movie, and don't think about any sort of weird magic shit happening because no, that's not happening. He's not coming back for sure. His body was just like nah, I won't give away too much. But yeah, this was definitely meant to be the last Halloween film in the franchise for sure. And of course, that was pretty much guaranteed because from what a lot of people have speculated, John Carpenter apparently, I guess he kind of hinted that yeah, he's pretty much done with the Halloween franchise completely now. So it's like it's kind of time to move on. Jamie Lee Curtis, who played as Laurie Strode, this was her. This was gonna be her last time playing as the character. So of course that says a lot. And it's been teased throughout in the trailers too. Like this is meant to be like pretty much the final battle between her and Michael. So it was like, oh okay. Makes sense. This whole trilogy of films that we got so far, at least in my opinion, they were actually pretty good. Halloween 2018 is it's a great film and Kills, despite a lot of people not really liking Halloween Kills that much. I honestly thought it was better than 2018 Halloween, only because I thought that at least with Kills, it kind of certified like the evilness of Michael, where he legit just went out and brutalized everyone. It's without a doubt one of the goriest films in the franchise because Halloween in all honesty, it's not very known for being a very gory horror franchise. It really isn't. So is Friday the 13th. It's not really like bloody, disgusting, or as gory as you probably would think it would be. But with Halloween, it was like, it seems like at least the people making these films actually cared. So whether you want to complain about their quality or not, it's like, at least these were actually good, decent Halloween films. Like I said, despite people not really liking kills so much, but I think after watching Halloween Ends, yeah, so you're probably thinking, Josh, what does this have to do with the conversation today? Because, well, it's kind of a debate because, yes, we are for sure getting a Halloween Ends Michael Myers. And I know what you're thinking, Josh. You're like way too late to the party, man. Like, why are we even doing this? Why am I talking about it now? Because this was actually revealed few months ago, like a long time ago for sure. So the reason why I'm talking about it now, I mean, I needed to make some kind of video for Halloween at least. You know, I wasn't really too sure what to really talk about today. So because it's been 1 year since I made that video, you know, kind of discussing if NECA is going to reveal that they're going to make the figure or not. And obviously what ended up happening was that they didn't reveal it at all. So it was like, oh shoot, we were all pretty much tricked. So of course I never made a follow up video of it, obviously because of that, because I felt kind of dumb, you know what I mean? Because it's like, aw, kind of got my hopes up for nothing. I don't know why, because I didn't even like the movie too much. But that's the thing too. I'm so conflicted, and that's why I'm making this video, because I want to ask, is the figure really warranted though? Like, did we really need this figure? Because obviously I'm kind of caught in between. I want it, but I kind of don't at the same time. Because let's be honest here, Michael Myers, especially throughout these last couple of Halloween films, he's pretty much looked the same. There hasn't really been that much change, with the exception that, you know, his mechanic suit, whatever he was wearing, the jumpsuit, whatever. I don't know the exact name for it. Obviously, hasn't really changed, except he's been like pretty much like beaten up. His mask is all burnt and all that. And obviously, when Halloween ends, when you look at how he looks, he's mostly all kind of moldy now. And you know, obviously, like you could tell that he's pretty much been hiding and has not moved from that hiding spot. And that's kind of one of the issues with Halloween Ends, where it's implied that he's been living like in Haddonfield sewers for pretty much all 4 years, and it's like, it's kind of hard to believe it, especially considering like the contradiction that was made with Halloween Kills, where they basically said that the more he kills, the stronger he gets. But as we can all see, and if you watch Halloween Ends, he didn't do anything. I'm gonna be honest. It was mostly like the second villain that did everything, and that second villain was of course Corey, where he's kind of introduced in this film, where his whole backstory was that he was babysitting a kid, but then some kind of accident happened, and the kid ended up getting killed, and then they all blamed him for it. I'm not gonna spoil the movie too much, but I'm just gonna get the major points out of the way. And basically, he starts to kind of shift a little bit. He ended up kind of becoming the bad guy. But by that, I mean, he literally went like to where Michael Myers was hiding, and he somehow managed to, I guess, uh, I don't know. It was such a mess. Like, he managed to persuade Michael to like literally get up and just start killing again. And I guess to an extent, yeah, when you see Michael's kind of doing his thing, he does start to kind of get that sort of energy back, but not by much, because long story short, that final battle he had, like that final fight with Laurie, it was, no, it was like the most anticlimactic thing possible. And in case of what happened to Corey, you know what happens to Corey. Michael kills him. He literally just snapped his neck. So that kind of begs the question too. Was this figure a missed opportunity? Because despite sort of my weird feelings with, of course, Corey and Michael, I think it would have been at least a little bit nice if maybe we would have gotten a 2-pack with the two of them. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think that could have been at least interesting, because NECA Toys has definitely done that. And there might be a small possibility that it could happen. So I'm going to explain why. So they did made Michael Myers based off of Halloween 2. You know, it's not canon no more, but they can still make it, right? And then eventually they did made a 2-pack of, you know, Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis, but that didn't happen until like, I think like maybe a year later or two. Like, it took a while for us to kind of get that. And this was pretty much the first ever Dr. Loomis figure we ever got, not counting the retro cloth. So I'm just saying. Maybe it could happen. Maybe it. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying because, like I said, it's very conflicting with like how this film is because it's very obviously different from the previous two, and it's pretty much done on purpose because these films kind of have a bit of a weird reflection with its original counterparts. So Halloween 2018 is somewhat similar to the first film, but not really. Halloween 2 has well no not Halloween 2. Halloween Kills definitely have some a little bit of relations with Halloween with the original Halloween 2 where you got Laurie trapped in the hospital, she can't really do nothing, Michael's going on a rampage. It's almost the exact same thing except not exactly. And then of course you got this third film, Halloween Ends, and it's like it's pretty obvious that they were going for a sort of more how do I say it? Very like Halloweenish, sort of almost mystical approach. Where there was a point in the film where it kind of seems like that when Corey ran into Michael for the first time, it's almost like Michael transcended that sort of evilness into Corey, and that's why Corey ended up kind of copying everything Michael does, even to the point where he steals his mask and all that. Spoilers, you know. And literally like right towards almost towards the last fight when Michael kills Corey, that was pretty much the point where it's like Michael got that sort of like energy back, that sort of evilness too. So that was pretty unique in a way. But if it's surprisingly almost similar with Halloween 3, the original Halloween 3, where despite that movie having nothing to do with Michael Myers or the last couple of films, they kind of have something similar with the whole weird sort of like magician, whatever you kind of call it. They both have a somewhat of a similar vibe. Not to mention that Halloween 3 was diversive, and so was Halloween Ends. So it's all it almost makes you wonder: did they make all these decisions on purpose? All these weird kind of stuff going on. I mean, the logo is kind of a dead giveaway. If you watch the film, you'll notice the title screen. It's like all blue and it's kind of slanted. If you see how the logo looks, that's very similar to Halloween 3's logo. So I wonder if they're trying to make a point to an extent. But either way, does it warrant this action figure really happening? It's so-so. I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't want this video to go on for too long. Uh, so I'm kind of conflicted. I'm glad that this figure was made, but at the same time, do I really want it? Because obviously after I saw the film last year, and I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, I only seen the movie one time. I didn't even bother to watch it again because it felt so odd. But it's like I don't think it's fair to really judge a movie, based on your first viewing, because sometimes if you watch the same movies over and over again, sometimes you do end up having a change of heart. Like Texas Chainsaw Part 2. Like when I first watched it for the first time, I didn't like it. But I watched it a lot, and it's like I ended up loving the film, and it's actually one of my favorite horror films, in the franchise of the Texas Chainsaw. So you never know. But again, I don't know how to feel about this figure, honestly. I mean, I'm conflicted. I'm 50-50. So that's about it. I mean, I just kind of want to get my opinions out there because I think it would make sense that I will make a follow-up video towards that one I made a year ago. Even though people have pretty much completely forgotten about it by now. Plus, this is the very first time in a while since I've talked about NECA toys. So, it's good to kind of catch up a little bit, because the only thing I really covered was I know I did talk a little bit about like their NECA, like their TMNT stuff and all that, but not by much. So just thought I kind of get that little bit of an update anyway. So until then, happy Halloween. Of course, stay safe out there. I mean, it's been kind of quiet over here. Probably because where I live, it's not the best in the world, obviously, but it is what it is. So until then, see you guys next time.